work that you do. It really is a privilege to work with all of you and all the things that you do to help our community. So before we begin, by a show of hands, how many of you protect, serve, and care for our community? Put your hands up, get them up high. Okay. How many of you get thanked and appreciated on a regular basis? How many aren't going to raise their hand no matter what I ask? So it's really important to give praise and to thank each other. And so what I'd like you to do right now is just turn to the person next to you, because if you're here at the New York Public Welfare Association Conference, I'm sure you all protect, serve, and care for our community. So if you would just turn to the person next to you, somebody you don't know, and say, thank you for the job that you do. Wow, look at the energy. In a small amount of time. But I like to start with humor. Nice purse. Thanks, it's my ex-husband. 1, 2, 3, breathe. He's dead, Jim. People wipe their feet on me all day long. I mean, really, what could possibly be worse than that? So there's always someone that has it worse than we do. So what we're going to start with today is having an attitude of gratitude. So if everybody would just stand up. I'm going to get you moving a little bit. You've been in here for a while. And I want you to think of three things that you're grateful for. So for instance, I would say, I'm grateful for my family. I have an amazing family. I'm grateful for my health. And I'm grateful to get to speak in front of all of you amazing people today. So think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And then I want you to turn to someone you don't know. It's going to be about networking today, right? Turn to somebody you don't know and share those 3 things with them. Ready? Go.
I have a big voice, yay. I noticed not just energy, but positive energy. That's the key. It was awesome. It's nice to be here.
But the brain net positive is 31% more productive than the brain net negative or neutral. And that's done by a Sean Aker study. He's a Harvard professor. So what we do, I really believe in this because there's so many things about gratitude and there's a lot of research behind it, that it enhances the positive emotions, it increases resilience, it strengthens relationships and social connections. So in any workshop that I do, in any training, in any meeting, you heard Mike say that I'm a recovering high school principal. Yes, I am. Recovering is my word. And at every meeting, we would do this. We'd start every meeting. You heard them say I'm working with Schenectady County right now. That's some of the stuff that we're bringing into Schenectady County. Every meeting, we start off with something positive or something that we're grateful for or a success that we've had. And it really does increase resilience. In fact, you also heard him say that I did my dissertation in active shooters. Well, the Pulse nightclub shooting that happened in Florida in 2016, it was one of the worst active shooter situations that we've seen in America. One of the things that they did, they had training prior to the shooting happening. They brought a trainer in to do some positive psychology, do some positive work, and build resilience with their Trauma One Center. And what happened was they came in and they did what they had to do. They went into full force. They saved as many people as they possibly could. And the next day when they went back to their meeting, because they learned to start their meetings off at every meeting with gratitude, rather than lack of supplies, lack of people, shortage of staff, right? All of those things that we face in the workforce today. They started every meeting with positivity. And the research behind that is that it increases resilience. So they were able to go in and do their job and save as many people as they could. And they come back to the table the next day, and guess what they started their meeting with? Gratitude. What are we grateful for? Despite what just happened, that horrific tragedy. But what they were grateful for was that they were able to save as many people as they saved. They were grateful for the support that was poured out to them across the country. So there's always something that we can find that we're grateful for, even in our most darkest times. Sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed in the morning, right? We all have those moments. But even finding the smallest thing that you're grateful for really propels you forward and helps you to start your day off on a positive note. Moving and seeing beyond the tradition. I love that. I love that theme. So when I was asked to be the keynote presenter, I was like, this is right up my alley. Recently, I was in Florida at Disney World. I was in Tomorrowland, and I was waiting in line to go on Space Mountain. And it really made me think of moving and seeing beyond the tradition. Because what happens to us in life? So many of us get stuck in our past, right? The what ifs, the traditions that we heard about, right? So we get stuck and we don't want to move forward. And the resentments that we have maybe, or the grudges that we hold against someone, we get stuck there. But we also get stuck in our present. And there's a real difference between being stuck in the present and being in the present, right? Being stuck in the present is about not wanting to step forward into your goals, into what's possible and what's that next step. Big difference from being in the present and learning from what's happening around you, accepting the fact that we can't change the chaotic environment that we have, right? But what can we do to move forward? And a lot of times what happens is we get stuck in that comfort zone. The routines, the traditions, if you will. Well, that's how we've always done it. But sometimes we have to think differently. We have to move and see beyond the traditions. And if I think about Disney World and I think about, he was fired from a job for not being creative. And think about that. And that place is just so magical, and it was because of someone's vision and because he dared to step outside of his comfort zone. So speaking of comfort zone, if you all would just cross your hands for me and notice which thumb is on top. Okay? Uncross them again, cross them back. Notice which thumb's on top. Is it the same thumb? Yeah? Okay, how many have your left thumb on top? Raise your hand. You guys are the smart ones. How many have your right thumb on top? Okay, you guys are the thinkers. How many don't have a thumb on top? The guy in the back there, you just think you're smarter. No. There's no research on it. But if you unfold your hands and fold them back, guess what? It's usually going to be that same thumb on the top. Now I'm going to ask you to unfold them, move them up one, so you have your opposite thumb on top. How does that feel? Weird, icky. What does your body want to do? Go back, right? You want to go back. You want to be stuck in that comfort zone. But guess what, friends? If I asked you to stay and hold your hands like that for 5 minutes, what do you think will happen? You'll get comfortable with the uncomfortable. So I invite you, as you go through the next few days and your learning and the conference, that you step outside of your comfort zone and you leave room for growth. This is very interactive today. So, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is, when I tell you to, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to shout out all the things that you saw around this room that are red. So, if you can take a look around the room, notice everything around the room that's red. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And don't open them until I tell you to, okay? And I want you to shout out all the things that you saw in this room that were green. Go ahead. Got nothing? All right, now shout out all the things you saw that were red. could just look at things, let's let red represent the negative. Why it won't work, why it's not possible, why we can't survive all the changes that are happening, right? Why we can't step out of our comfort zone, all the reasons why. Let's let red represent that. And let's let green represent what's possible. Is it possible? Let's get curious. Is it possible that maybe even some of the changes we're seeing might be good? Maybe it's pushing us a little bit outside of our comfort zone to think differently. So let's get curious. And I like to say, as part of leadership, moving from judgment to curiosity. And this can be used so much in the work that you do. So I have also had the privilege of training over 2,000 first responders. And when I say first, let me clarify this, because I feel like you are all first responders. The work I've been doing with Schenectady County and seeing and hearing, I believe the work you all do, you are on the front lines. You see things that humans should not see. So you're all first responders too. I am fortunate too, because I have another family member that surprised me today in the back, and he's a firefighter, so he is on the front lines doing that work as well. But being able to train them and helping them go from judgment to curiosity. Instead of looking at people, right? Because you go out into the community and you see the worst of the worst. Instead of saying, what an asshole, sorry, I didn't say that. What happened to them? And then changing it from what happened to them to what's right with them. Like finding the good in people. So if we could just change our lens today and into the future to green and think about possibilities and get curious. Switch from judgment to curiosity. And what I'd like you to do today, I say key distinctions. So as we go through the next half hour together, I want you to think about what are some ahas, some things that you can take away, something that you can take and implement right away into your work that you do every day. And one of the key distinctions I like to say is it possible? And the work that I'm doing with Schenectady County, that's the word they use right now. Is that true or not, Commissioner? Is it possible? And you'll hear us say more of those key distinctions as we get through. But is it possible that we can do things differently? Is it possible we can reshape the culture? Is it possible we can create a resilient workforce? Is it possible we can create a safe space for our workers? Yes, the answer is yes, it is possible. So go from judgment to curiosity. Look out, ice hole. What did you call me? Yeah. Is it possible that message sent isn't message received? How many times have we seen that? Yes, we've seen that. So that's another one of those little takeaways that we use. Message sent is not always message received. And I hate to tell you this, my husband's sitting up here right now, but he uses my words against me. He'll say, is it possible that's a story you're telling yourself? You don't get to ask me that. Or I invite you to consider. You don't get to invite me to consider. So what is leadership? How many people consider themselves leaders in this room? Get your hands up, show of hands. I would imagine that every one of you should have your hand up in this room. So whether you lead a department, you lead a unit, you lead a family, who's the most important person you need to lead? Yourself. You're all leaders, so every hand should be up. You're all leaders. And what is leadership? It's about going first. It's about being the first one to say you're sorry, the first one to take responsibility, the first one to say, let's go, right? Those are all the qualities of a leader. The next piece, though, is what is compassionate leadership? What is compassionate leadership? It's about leading with empathy and respect and creating that safe space for people. Psychological safety, and we'll talk a little bit about that, is so important in a workplace. We heard a little bit about workforce development. You know, my job, not too different from yours, because I really believe teachers are first responders as well. You know, the stuff we see, the things we hear, same thing, going home with a heavy heart because, you know, we're trying to make a difference and there's things that we can't protect. Some, you know, kids we can't protect sometimes no matter how hard we try. So it really is just creating that safe space so that people have a place they can come back to, right? When they come back to the office, being able to have somewhere to go to process the horrible things that you sometimes see. So did you know that a global survey by Georgetown University of nearly 20,000 employees found that feeling respected by superiors is the most important leadership behavior? That's a large number in a survey. 80% of employees treated with incivility spend work time dwelling on that negative behavior. And 48% of employees deliberately reduce their effort when they feel disrespected. Yeah, so imagine the work time we're losing when we have an environment where people don't feel respected. But the benefits of a respectful workplace is it increases job satisfaction, gratitude, loyalty to the organization. What's one of the things we face? Turnover, right? People leaving, so that creates a higher workload for everyone else. But if we create a respectful workplace, people are more likely to stay. Enhanced resilience in facing challenges. Do all of you need resilience in the work that you do? Yes. Greater cooperation and teamwork, improved performance and creativity, and a higher willingness to take direction from leaders. So creating a safe space, that's really important. So physical safety is important, but so is psychological safety and emotional safety. I had one leader that we've been working with at Schenectady County. He said to me, Lise, you know what? When I go out into the field and I see the horrors that I see out there, you know, we see broken babies, we face people who are murderers, we face, you know, I don't want to re-traumatize you, so I don't need to say all of that, but you know what you see out there. He said, when I come back to the office, I want a safe space. I want to feel I have people that can support me and help me process the horrible things that I see out there. And that's why, as leaders, it really is important to create that safe space. And also, whose responsibility is it to create that safe, positive culture? Everybody's. And that's the work that we've been doing at Schenectady County. It's everybody's job to create that safe space. So one of the ways we start doing that is we have operating principles. So for every meeting that we have these operating principles, and we ask people, do you agree to this at every meeting? Respect, participation, hold your beliefs lightly, be on time, listen to others. Confidentiality, that is the biggest one. If people don't feel like they can speak in a confidential spot, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, they're not going to speak. Playful out, assist others, have fun. People want to feel valued, they want to be heard, they want to be seen. So if you create that space for them, you're going to get more creativity and more work. Anyone know what one of the oldest living organisms on the planet is? Say it. What kind of trees? Help them out, they live in California. Yes, the sequoias, yes, the sequoia trees. The California redwoods, they've been on Earth for over 100 million years. They are the tallest trees. They grow to be 350 feet high. They live upward of 2,000 years, but they have a very shallow root system. Their root system is only 8 feet deep. And they release 500 gallons of water every day to support the other species in the forest. I love the redwood trees. But how they stay upright, how they live this long, is they intertwine with the roots of other trees. So we talked about networking today, right? We talked about not just in this room, not just with the people that you know, find people that you can network with, right? Because they might be going through some of the same things that you're going through. And you can help each other. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. So maybe someone dealt with a situation that is showing up to you. Ask someone, right? Meet different people, network, and create that positive team. And interestingly enough, Google recently did a survey. It's called Project Aristotle. And what they found about teams, right? Because I feel like this ties to teams and having those connections and working together. What they found is it doesn't matter who is on the team, it's how the team works together. That is so important. So working together, networking is really crucial. Now, I call it a VUCA environment. Does anyone know what VUCA stands for? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Do we agree that we are living in a VUCA environment right now? We definitely just heard that over here. Yes, we are. And we cannot control the environment, can we? We can't control the mandates that are coming down. We can't control the change in administration. The only thing that we can control is how we respond, right? First responders, not first reactors. That's what I always like to say. We're first responders, not first reactors. How do you do that? Well, let me ask you a question. Healing is a vibe. I love that. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica. Jessica, if I gave you an orange and I asked you to squeeze it, what would come out of it? Orange juice, not apple juice? Why? Because it's an orange. And what's inside comes out when you squeeze it, right? Everybody agree to that? Well, what comes out of you when you get squeezed? Keep it clean. I worked in a high school and I worked with first responders. I always have to qualify myself. But that's why it's important to do the inside work, right? So some of the work that we've been doing in Schenectady County and working with the Department of Social Services is helping people to do their own inside work. So that when you show up, you can respond and not react, right? So it's about personal development. This is about bringing personal development to places and spaces it's never been. And that's really critical because we need to show up as our best selves every day, but you can't do that unless you do the inside work. And one of the things we talk about is taking 100% responsibility, right? You say, what, 100% responsibility? If you act as if you are 100% responsible for things in your life, guess what? Life's gonna work better. And you might say, well, how am I responsible for the changes in administration? How am I responsible for my boss's bad mood? How am I responsible for my mother's bad mood? Well, I might be. But when we don't get the results that we want, instead of taking responsibility, what are the 3 things we do when we don't get the outcomes we want? Blame. What else? Complain. And make excuses. By a show of hands, how many people have blamed, complained, or made excuses in the past 30 days? Show of hands. Mom, get your hand up. I spent a week in Disney with you. Yeah. I complain and make excuses. Just kidding. I had to pick on her. So we have to give up all blaming and complaining and making excuses. That's the first thing we need to do. How about this victim language? Some of you may have heard this. Some of you may have even used it before. No matter how hard I work, it's never enough for the leadership. We're set up to fail with these unrealistic caseloads. I've stopped suggesting improvements. Nobody listens anyway. We're always blamed when things go wrong, even when it's out of our control. I'm not going to continue to read the list, but have you heard victim language before? Have you used it before? Yeah, my hand's up. So I'm going to teach you this little formula. If anything you take away from today, this is crucial. E plus R equals O. An event happens, plus your response equals the outcome. Now, can we control the events that happen? No. What can we control? Our response, and that determines the outcome. So if you don't like the outcomes you're getting, what do you need to change? You have to change your response, right? And that's part of doing that inside work. And sometimes an event happens, and what do? We react. So I like to say between the E and the R, that's where we take that tactical pause, right? And we take a minute before we respond so that we get a better outcome in our life. So E plus R equals O. Changing the narrative, that's another way that we can change our response is if we change the narrative. So you say, well, what is the narrative? The narrative is the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves about others, and the stories others tell about us. Oops, let me go back to that one, sorry. So starting with the stories we tell ourselves, how many of you have ever gotten called in by your boss and started telling yourself, oh my God, what did I do? Why am I in there? Is it possible you're being called in because you did something good? It's possible. Or how many of you have children? And when they don't answer the phone, what do you think is what's going through your head? Yeah. My daughter tells me, Mom, you've tried to call the FBI when I haven't answered my phone. Maybe.
Yes, she has.
Or if someone's having a bad day, what do you tell yourself? Oh my God, did I make that person mad? What did I do? It's not about you. So those are the stories we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves stories about others, right? And so we have to learn to stop those stories. And only by knowing yourself can you become an effective leader. Self-esteem. 2/3 of Americans have low self-esteem. Look to your left, look to your right. One of you's okay. But don't judge. 71% of leaders have imposter syndrome. 71%. That's a study done by 12,000 global employees from Korn Ferry, which is an executive placement company. And a woman that I coach who's absolutely amazing. Like when I tell you, she was the first military aide, a female military aide to a president of the United States. She carried the football, which is the nuclear code. And I'm coaching her one day and she's like, Lisa, how am I going to speak in front of all of these CEOs? She said, well, gives me the credentials. I'm like, what? I go, you walk in the room, the whole friggin' room stands up and salutes you. What are you talking about? But do you see? We all tell ourselves stories and have low self-esteem. So we have to change some of that. And one other thing. Let me just do, what's your name?
Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Yeah.
Carolyn, when I say something to you, I want you to repeat it back to me.
Okay.
Carolyn, I see you.
Carolyn, I see
No,
you.
I'm sorry. She followed directions. Lisa, I see you. Lisa, say Lisa, I see you.
Oh, Lisa, I see you.
Thank you. Nicole, I see you.
Nicole, I see
Lisa,
you.
I see you. My name's Lisa, your name's Nicole. Tracy, I see you.
Lisa, I see you.
Guess what? People want to be seen. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be valued. In one of the, another recent study, I love my studies. I read the Harvard Business Review on the whole plane ride to Florida. And I got some really good stats out of there. But one of the things that they were talking about is employees want to be praised, they want to be acknowledged, they want to be put on a project that's worthwhile over compensation. Money's not everything to them. That's what they would prefer. So people want to be seen. And, you know, one of the other things too is automatic negative thoughts, right? We're always thinking negative thoughts. We think 60,000 thoughts a day, 80% of them are negative. So what we need to do is we need to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So let's just try something real quick. I'd like you to look to your partner and I want you to think of one I am statement that's positive. Like, I am amazing, I am bold, I am beautiful, I am fabulous. I practiced that in the mirror today. So turn to someone and I want you to tell them one I am statement. Turn to the person next to you, that's positive. Oh, hold up, stop. I gotta stop you for a minute. Here's what I want you to do. Do something with me. I need to get you out. What I want you to do is I want you to look down, because you're laughing. I'm not sure you're really digging the I am and saying it a powerful way, okay? So I want you to look, hunch over like this, okay? And say, I am awesome. I am amazing. Now I want you to get your arms in the air, fist pump like Rocky, and say out loud to me, I am depressed. Big difference. Now I want you to, everyone has their I am statement. I want you to get your arms up in the air, fist pump like Rocky, and say it out loud. Ready? I am yeah. All right. So I have a lot more that I have planned, but I don't want to stand between you and lunch, but I do want to quickly just go over one of the things, and then I love that, is it possible that it's a story you're telling yourself? But changing the narrative through collaboration and compassionate leadership. I have been blessed to work with Schenectady County. Their leadership is amazing there. We have Commissioner Brandy Hiller-Boulden, Deputy Commissioner Michelle Howe. In the back of the room, we also have with us Deputy County Manager Jen Bargy. We have some of our county legislators up front. They have been very instrumental in bringing this work in and transforming the workplace. And one of the things that we did, is that a good picture, Randy? I put that up there. We did a listening tour. We wanted to hear, because we said people want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be valued, right? So we did a listening tour. And based on what we heard, we did some work. And the first thing we did is we shared the results. How many of you have been part of like a consultant coming in, doing surveys, and you spend all your precious time and then you never hear anything else about it? Mm-hmm. Well, we presented what we heard. And it was you want to talk about leadership, the commissioner and deputy commissioner both sat in that room and they listened to some of the things that were said. And let me tell you, my friends, a lot of it goes back. Do you believe in organizational trauma? Yeah. Absolutely. But they listened, and not only did they listen, but they heard. And they've made some changes. And in the past year and a half, there's been so many great things that they've done. We celebrated the positives. I'm not going to go through all of it because I know we're crunched for time. But one of the things that we did, so we came up with a solution-oriented approach. The first thing is to foster a culture of empathy and support. Strengthen trust and morale. Give training and development. Strengthen communication and relationships. All those things that are backed by research, right, that we just heard, that we experienced. Positive change is a team effort. It's everyone's responsibility. And if you change nothing, nothing will change. Also remembering effective change takes 3 to 5 years. So the first thing we did was a 2-day workshop. So you see some of the experiential stuff that we did. We spent 2 days doing that. And here's the brave part. The commissioner and deputy commissioner made sure every single person, didn't matter who you were in that department, came through this training. We did 3 different trainings and everyone came through it. And do you think people complained a little bit about having to come? Yes. But when they got there, they participated, they got connected, they learned things about each other that they didn't know. I do want to play this because it really is kind of cool to watch. It was fun. That's my favorite part. And so after that, the next thing we did was we created leadership groups. So every leader in that department sits with me once a month, and they're in a group, and they have got so connected to their groups that they don't want to miss their group. So now I just schedule a time when they all can make it, and we do leadership training. And we do masterminding, which they have come up with some really creative solutions to some of the problems that they're facing. Because guess what? The answer to all of our problems are not outside. Where are they? They're inside. If you just work together and ask each other and help each other. I do coaching with people. People have the opportunity to get personal coaching with me. And that's all because of the leadership in Schenectady County that has created this. And they've seen positive changes. And for me, it's just been a really exciting experience to work with such an amazing group of people. They do problem solving. This is one of the things that they created was a training unit that we're working on bringing to fruition right now. So we have a team of people that are planning the training unit, and that was based on the feedback that we got. They mastermind, they come up with solutions. This group actually came up with a solution for another department because they know the other department was struggling. So it's been a really creative way to solve some of their problems. So I need you to do one more thing for me, okay? So I'm gonna ask everybody to make that okay sign. Actually stand up, please. Stand up. Make the okay sign. Tell me you're okay. Get that hand high in the air. Okay, now I need you to follow my commands, okay? So I need you to move your arm to the right, Move your arm to the front. Move it above your head. Move it onto your head. Move it onto your eyes. Move it onto your nose. Move it onto your cheek. How many have it on their chin? I know, you almost did it, you almost did it. Because here's the thing, friends, people model. They don't always listen to what you say, but they model what you do. And you guys have been an amazing audience, and this afternoon, Commissioner Golden and I will be presenting more of this. You can have the opportunity to ask questions, see how we're working. We have a 90-minute session this afternoon, Salon D, 3:30 to 5 o'clock. And if you're interested in more information, scan the QR code. That's my contact information. God bless all of you, and thank you for a great time.
Lisa, you were awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you, Dr. Patoni.